welcome to another test ride video. My name is Marshall3498, and today is a very exciting demo ride for me, something I've been wanting to demo ride for several months. I am currently riding a 2022 Kawasaki Klr 650. This is adventure model. I'm riding with the bags and the little skid plate and the lower engine bars, accessory socket on both sides. One's just a USB, one is a actual regular traditional cigarette lighter, and it does actually, you can't see by while I'm riding it, but this switch here is for the lights. So this is the fully specced out Klr, and I believe it comes in at a price right at $8,000. First impression is it is a little vibey, but it's not terrible. You know, you do have to remember this is a 650 single, so there is that part, but it's not a bad vibration. It does have a little tingle, but it's not awful. The Royal Himalayan that I rode, that's a single cylinder, is actually much smoother than this, but this is still not bad. But I am 5 foot 10 inches tall with a 32-inch inseam, and I can almost flat foot this if I really try to stretch my legs out, but I can still very easily touch the balls of my feet. But you know, dash layout is pretty simple. A lot of people say this right here should be a gear indicator, but that's actually I think that actually is a oil pressure light and a temperature warning light, actually. So we'll see how we just get on riding here. But I mean, you know, other than the vibration, even though, you know, these bikes only make, sorry, my sunglasses are fogging up. These bikes do only make like 40 horsepower, but they do make like 40 pounds of torque. So it doesn't seem slow. Of course, haven't really got a chance to really get on it too much yet. But you know, so far the bike feels good, and we'll see what happens from here. First time actually at a Kawasaki demo ride. We'll see. Definitely seems to be run pretty smooth. They oddly enough did a breathalyzer test, which is a good safety thing, I guess, but good to be cautious. I think that's a funeral up here, so this might impede our demo ride a little bit, but we are in a residential neighborhood, so no big deal. Gives me a chance to test some of the low speed stability stuff. So let's stand up on it and see what it's like. I think they'll have a problem with that. Oh, yeah, bike feels good standing up. It definitely helps on a hot day here. And 1st of October, it's already almost like 75, and it's like 10:30 now. So, but I do like this bike. All the controls seem well. The clutch is really light pull. Transmission is a little notchy, but the upshifts are pretty good. The downshift is where I feel most of the notchiness. The upshifts are a little smoother, but bike is a 5-speed transmission. They made lots of improvements for the 2020 KLR redesign. LED headlights, redid the dash. They put fuel injected on it. Does have a cat converter now. Same size fuel tank, 6.1 gallons, but it does. They put the sump in a lower part of it, so that way if you have to test all the range out of it, maybe you won't run out as easy. Some people say the old design, where the pickup was, you probably still had like a half a gallon or more left. But you know, like right here doing like 5 miles an hour with the clutch in, bike's really stable feeling. Hopefully we get a little bit past all this traffic and get up to some speed a little bit and get to test out the suspension. So there we go. All right, we're clear now. Good. But you know, bike feels good. They have rubber mounted for this new design, the seat, the handlebar, and the pegs. And if I grip the tank, I can feel the motor vibrating slightly underneath me. But if I don't, it's not as bad. Even gripping that, you can feel the vibration. It is a notable difference versus gripping it versus not, but it's still not horrible, especially for a single cylinder. Wind protection, right now I'm getting quite a bit of air on my chest, but hardly none on my head. But I am still only doing 38 miles an hour, so that remains to be seen. But I mean, the bike feels nimble. It feels very light on its feet. The bike actually weighs The one I'm riding, I believe, actually weighs like right at 480 because of the all the accessories already added, but it does not feel like it at all. Maybe it wears a lot of its weight really low. They did do redesign of the swing arm. It is now a welded on instead of a bolt on. But this review is more about first impressions and what I think about the bike. And so far, I'm very impressed. Like I said, the only thing that's kind of weird to me about it is the vibration, but that's something you just get used to. You know, I'm used to a 4-cylinder FJR Yamaha, so I'm used to a more smoother engine. But for, you know, what this bike's intended purpose is for, roads like this, riding down gravel road, which unfortunately we won't get to do today because we're just on a demo ride. But, you know, like this road, I can see it looking at it. It's got lots of these little divots in it, and I feel none of that. So that's a good sign that the suspension is working well and doing its job. The bike does have a 34.2 inch seat height, I do believe, but it's very thin at the front, so it allows you to get your legs down. I'd say as long as you're at least 5'7", you can ride this bike with not much issue. If you're any shorter than that, you might have to stop with one leg down if you can able to do that. But the bike does have ABS on some of them. It is an option on this one and the Traveler and the base model. I think the Traveler, sorry, the Traveler actually comes with it on there, the one with the top box. But this one you can get it with or without ABS. This one I'm riding does have ABS because before they took off from the demo fleet truck, I've seen the ABS light was on, which means it's like my bike, it wasn't calibrated yet. So we're at 45. We're already in 5th gear. This bike is a 5-speed, and sadly to say, it doesn't have a gear indicator or a tach augmenter. But if you've been riding motorcycles long enough, the motor's chugging, not getting what you want, go down a gear. If it's revving too much, shift up. It's not that big of a deal, you know, as far as the tach goes, because you should be focused on what's ahead, not staring at the dash. A little bit of pull in the front brake there in the inner corner, and that felt pretty progressive and linear. Pretty powerful brakes, actually. See, I didn't downshift, but, you know, because I went all the way down 35, but a little roll on the throttle, bike picked back up really nicely. That's impressive. It shows the motor is willing to be lugged, but will pull itself out without too much drama or stress. But pretty cool little demo ride, little back road route to test out the bike, get away from traffic. This is my first Kawasaki demo, at least for this day, so I don't know what the route's about, so about to find out. But the windshield is position adjustable, but you do have to take it off and move the bracket and then reinstall the windshield. So that's kind of a bummer, but after all, this bike is only $8,000 fully optioned out like this one. And the base without ABS, I believe, don't quote me on that, is at $6,500, and the Traveler is at $73.99. Which the Traveler, you get a top box, you get both the ABS, I mean, sorry, not ABS, both the USB port and the accessory cigarette lighter port, but you don't get the lights, you don't get the hard saddlebags like this one has on it, or the mounts, and you don't get the switch, obviously, for the lights, because the lights aren't there. But, you know, for the most part, you get most of the stuff. Most people, they're going to be doing adventure bike stuff, I believe. It has a little lower, like, crash bar, but they're so low down on the bike, other than maybe protecting the motor, I don't think they would protect the plastics that much. So, yeah, brakes right there feel really good. Little kind of sharp corner. That was 3rd gear from 30, didn't really care. There's 40, 5, 4th, and then 5th, right at 50. So the gear is pretty wide, spaced out, but usable. Bike doesn't feel slow to me at all, you know, but it does make 42 horsepower and 40 pounds of torque. So because of that big single, even though it is an overhead cam single, but you got a really big piston and a long stroke. So like the Himalayan, doesn't really put up too much fuss on what gear it's in. But yeah, so far I'm really digging it. The seat is really squishy. I don't know if that'd be a bad thing on a long ride where it had not enough support, but it does feel pretty good for a stock seat, I will have to admit. One of the better stock seats I've sat on, especially for an adventure / dual sport, especially. But yeah, we'll just I'm really impressed with the bike. You get a clock, you get a fuel gauge, you get an odometer, you get 2 odometers and a total mileage, and that's it. you know, for what you're getting and what you're for the price you're paying, I think you get quite a bit of a good bike. Supposedly this ABS is off-road tuned, that I've heard from a guy watching in Australia who just bought one of the base model of these, that under like real slow speed, like I don't know what that translates to in miles an hour, but under 5 kilometers an hour, the ABS doesn't work. So maybe that's for like off-road riding when you're going really slow, and the ABS will work and let you kind of keep you from not being able to stop going downhill or when it's slick or whatever. But you know, rear brake, that's pretty vague, but it doesn't feel awful. But most people who ride bikes a lot like me, I use both brakes all the time anyway. So a little bit of twisty section, a little bit of bumpy road. That feels very nice. Oh yeah, you do feel that 21-inch front wheel. I put a little bit too much bar input in there, and it was like a little bit too much counter steer, and the bike kind of did one of those numbers. But it's just something you have to get used to. You know, I'm not used to riding bikes with a 21-inch front wheel, but riding position's fantastic. I'm straight up almost completely as far as my back goes. The only reason I'm kind of hunched over is the bar height is on the taller side, but that's to be able to stand up off-road to make it more comfortable, which this bike does feel like it does a pretty good job at being able to stand up off-road while being comfortable. But I mean, that's good though that the bike has that gear, and like if you're on roads like this, you can leave it 4th or 5th. If you're doing say 35 to 40 or 45, you could pretty much leave it 4th, but like say 40 miles an hour uphill, bike doesn't really care. So that's good. That way it shows, as they call, a lot of people call the FJR Faithful, call them tractors, because they make so much low end power and grunt. And I can see why these bikes are popular. Supposedly the stock windshield from somebody that I watched on YouTube on a review, when they put it all the way up, and he was right at 6 foot tall, he actually liked how the wind protection was. But windshields and seats are kind of a thing that everybody has their own preference to, and that's hard to feel what it is. This bike is, those of you don't know, it is chain driven also, but you know, all the controls feel well. Good quality for the money. Most of your Japanese manufacturers really make good motorcycles, and Kawasaki is no exception to that rule. But yeah, brakes feel really linear, really powerful. There is a little bit of front brake dive, but that's to be expected when you ride a bike with a little more than 8 inches of suspension travel, and it does have right at 8 inches of ground clearance. Let's see, which way are we going back into this? The clutch pull, it pulls right in the middle before it really starts pulling, which that's a good thing. I kind of like clutches like that. I don't like ones that are way off the top. Oh god, I kind of went a little early here. That was maybe a little too close, but I know how to ride, so it's all good. Yeah, but that does happen on these demo rides. Sometimes you get split up, you have lots of traffic and stuff, which, you know, this being a Saturday, of course it's going to be a lot of traffic. But yeah, I'm impressed with the bike. Do I like this better than Himalayan that I rode? Some things yes, some things no, but overall I think this would be a better road bike if you had to put in a lot of really road miles, especially speeds above 55 and stuff like that, to be able to get to the trail, just to be able to keep up traffic. I've seen, you know, these things will do 85 plus, we'll say that I've seen online. So even in places like California or Arizona where they have higher speed limit interstates, I think you'd be just fine on this bike for that. May not be what the bike's best at, but like right here cruising 50 miles an hour, not much wind blast, I'm in high gear, very little vibration, even with gripping the tank like I mentioned. But I'm really impressed, and I dig it. I like it. I didn't think I was gonna like it this much, but I actually do, so that's a good thing. It's always good to go on a demo ride and be impressed. I've been on a couple bikes on Yamaha's demo rides that I hated within 5 minutes, so there's that. Let's see, where we turn back in, but hopefully y'all I've done a good job for y'all in this test ride video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section below. I'll do more than my best ability to answer them to my best ability. And that, guys, ride safe and have fun. We'll see you on the next one. See ya.